Why do you wear that?
You think it's weird?
Kinda.
Well, normal faces are weird too, you know? The way they're smooth, 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 and then, you know, all bumpy and holes. I mean, what are eyes like? It's like a science fiction movie. Don't get me started on lips.
Frank is a film that came out in 2014 that's directed by Lenny Abramson and stars Michael Fassbender and Domhnall Gleeson. So Frank is a $50 patron request from my cousin Christian Munoz, and I was pretty ecstatic that he requested this film because this is a film that I watched pretty much when it came out, and I honestly really loved it. But I haven't seen it in so long. It's been probably over 6 years since I've seen it, so I was really excited to revisit it because I've owned it on Blu-ray, but I've just never watched it again. And now after revisiting this film, I can still say that I liked it quite a bit. I don't think I loved it as much as I used to, but it's still a film that I liked very much. And I think the reason why I loved it so much when this film first came out is because it came out during a pivotal time of my life. And I say that because before I was starting to get huge into film and start really thinking about pursuing film as a career, I was a huge music lover, and I considered myself much more of a musician than a film critic or a film lover or a filmmaker. And to see this film come out in a time where I basically had to choose which art form that I think I had the most potential in and also just loved more. And this was a film that was able to capture the essence and the importance and the beauty of music and music making as an art form through filmmaking. And I think that's still the best thing about this film, and it's still the reason why I still like it quite a bit. Michael Fassbender plays the character Frank in this film, and Fassbender plays a character that has a papier-mâché head over his actual head for pretty much 90% of this film, and I think that's something that's incredibly admirable to do, you know, especially for an A-list actor like Michael Fassbender, to just not show his face for the vast majority of the film. Kind of reminds me of Casey Affleck in A Ghost Story. But Michael Fassbender was incredible in this film, despite the fact that he didn't have the privilege of expressing his emotions through his facial expressions. He was still able to embody this character and express himself in ways that the audience can clearly understand what he's going through during certain moments in this film. And I think that's really impressive for an actor to do. His character also is the centerpiece, in my opinion, of what holds this film together, and represents something that's incredibly special and important to this film, and also music in general, but I'll dive into that a little bit later. Domhnall Gleeson's character, he's good in this film, but his character is so aggravating and pisses me off to no end. I mean, when I first watched this film, I found him quite annoying and everything, but just now, after watching this film, after not having seen it in 6 years, his character just pisses me off beyond belief. But I think that's quite the point. Because his character, it's like, he tries so hard to be a musician, and he's only entered this band by sheer chance. And most of this film takes place in this secluded cabin type area where the band tries to put together an honest, genuine album. And throughout the entirety of the film, Domhnall Gleeson's character is just not clicking. Like, he's really trying to understand the essence of what's going on here, and he just can't get it. He is so far detached from what this band is trying to achieve and what their approach to music making is. And that's just because, in my opinion, Domhnall Gleeson's character represents everything that music shouldn't be. And Frank and his band represent what music should be. And that's something that comes from a deep, honest place within you. And Frank and his band obviously use music as an avenue to express themselves emotionally, physically, and it's something that is obviously used as a form of therapy to them. And without it, it's incredibly difficult for them to live and to function. And as opposed to Domhnall Gleeson's character, he's just somebody who's mainly concerned with writing the next hit. It's not coming from a place of sincerity, and he's just so hung up on what everybody else is going to think of what he makes. And with these two different kinds of people being in a band together, it's obviously going to cause a lot of chaos and a lot of dysfunction and a lot of conflict, because they're both coming from places that are just like oil and water. Like they're not going to mix well at all. And the music that the band writes is definitely much more on the experimental side, because again, they're not concerned with conventions, and they're all channeling their inner self into this art form. And what we get in this film is kind of a more modern experimental take of something like The Doors. And I read a letterboxd review of this film from some person, but one of the complaints that they had was that the music wasn't good. And it just seems like the point completely went over their head, because it's not, I don't even think it's really supposed to be good. Like, it's not supposed to really appeal to your sensibilities. It's supposed to just show you that it's coming from an honest place. And it's supposed to express to you that, in essence, this is what musicianship should be about. And in the third act of this film, the character Frank tries to write what he considers to be his most likable song. And that scene absolutely killed me, because to me, it's almost like a satirical version of what mainstream radio music sounds like.
Coca-Cola, lipstick ring, go dance all night, I've got dancing legs, woo, I've got dancing legs.
Like, just so upbeat and artificial and shameless. And that was an amazing scene. But what I will say about this film, in terms of direction and aesthetics, like, it's competent at best. There's really nothing about the way the camera is used, or the way, the style is used behind the camera that really elevates any of this material. It basically just is what it is, and it's the screenwriting that really makes this a strong film. And honestly, that's kind of a shame, because I feel like this film, even though I do think it's a pretty good film, it could have been absolutely fantastic if I think there was a little bit more creative execution behind the camera to really make the screenplay shine a little bit more. But instead, it relies a lot on the acting ability of these actors, and again, the screenplay, to make this film a strong, enjoyable, and insightful piece of filmmaking. I also think that the ending of this film, which, by the way, I love the ending to this film in general. Just the way this film concludes in terms of the overall conflict resolution, I think is really emotional stuff, and really well written, really well acted, and I really love it. But I feel like this film ends on one shot too much. And what I mean by that is that this film basically ends perfectly with a shot of a beer bottle. For those who have seen it, you know what that basically implies. And then it decides to go even further and basically spoon feed to the audience exactly what happens at the very end. And I thought that was kind of a bummer, because I thought the implication of that shot beforehand of the beer bottle was perfect, and there was no need to go any further than that. But it decides to really make sure the audience knows what happened. And for me, I felt like it kind of brought it down a peg to an otherwise perfectly executed ending. But either way, I still really, really like this film. There's a lot about this film to really enjoy and to get out of. So if this is a film that you haven't seen yet, I implore you to see it. I think that you'll really enjoy your experience. So I'm going to give Frank a solid 7 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching my review on Frank. Stay tuned tomorrow for a review on Inherent Vice. And make sure to like this video if you really enjoy what I had to say about Frank. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to be updated on more film-related content.